What's going on, everybody? UCF Jaguar back here with GenJag.com, and I'm actually coming at you guys with some breaking NFL news. Just a few hours ago, we were actually alerted that the Cleveland Browns are expected to release Josh Gordon this coming Monday. And this is crazy news just because, you know, Josh Gordon, man, he is an outstanding player. He's an absolute #1 wide receiver. The guy is extremely athletic. The guy has such great physical tools, but as we know, the guy has been in trouble a lot, mainly just with like drugs and alcohol type of thing. Now, the big question, man, is what's going to happen with Josh Gordon? You know, what the situation with him is now that the Cleveland Browns said they're going to be expected to release him. Now there's a bunch of teams that are trying to get into the mix to potentially trade for him. You know, I believe Ian Rappaport or Adam Schefter reported at least 6 teams have reached out to them with interest. And if he doesn't get traded to another team, then he clears waivers. He doesn't. There's usually a waiver order when you draft or when you pick up players, and you know usually it's the worst team #1, and then through the best team #32 has the last priority. But apparently with him right now, he's like he could completely clear waiver wires just because I don't know if it's experience or what it is. But yeah, I mean this guy, man, it's a big question, especially with the Jaguars. And should we draft, or should we go ahead and make a move and get him, or should we kind of let him pass? Now we'll go ahead and go through the pros and cons of the situation for the Jaguars. The pros is he is automatically the best wide receiver on the Jaguars and potentially the best offensive weapon. Now, you know, you could throw up the question of whether it's Leonard Fournette or Josh Gordon, but Josh Gordon, man, he is, like I was saying earlier, man, the guy is a freaking beast. In 2013, this is a guy that had 87 receptions and 1,646 yards. The guy's an absolute animal. He's been able to do it with subpar quarterback play his whole entire NFL career. And, I mean, this guy is just an absolute playmaker. And if the Jaguars were to get a guy like Josh Gordon, he automatically becomes like your best playmaker at wide receiver in a position group that's really not all that talented for the Jaguars right now. Not really filled with many like actual proven players. Now, you look into the cons of this whole situation for the Jaguars. You can potentially look at, you know, say you have a troubled defensive lineman. When he gets into that defensive line group, he's not the biggest personality in there because you're going to have guys like Calais Campbell that could potentially humble him down a little bit. You have guys like Malik Jackson. You have guys like Marcel Darius. Just a bunch of experienced players that have been kind of in the league for a while. So, but when it comes to Josh Gordon going into the Jaguars wide receiver room, all of a sudden he's filled with a bunch of really just a bunch of young guys. You know, the guy's not a role model. You've got a Dante Moncrief going into his 5th year, but you look at the other wide receivers. You got D.D. Westbrook, Keelan Cole. Both those guys are going into their 2nd year. Both very young players. You have a rookie and like DJ Chark. So there's just not a lot of people in the wide receiver group that I really feel have the credentials and just had the experience to be able to kind of like humble this guy down and kind of put Josh Gordon in his place. And you know, another big thing is the guy just goes through a lot of like you know, he gets into a lot of trouble. Like you look at the reasons why the Cleveland Browns actually released him, and it was kind of an accumulation of a lot of different things. Apparently he had hurt his hamstring at a non football related thing. He was at some kind of like promotional event, so that doesn't fly well with coaches at all. You know, also apparently he was like late to the Cleveland Browns practice facility like a number of times, like including today. And he's a guy that the Cleveland Browns have given a lot of chances to, and he just always winds up like kind of backstabbing him. And you know, you don't know what his like mentality is. Only the people in the Cleveland Browns like room know that. I mean, you look at him and you think he's a player that could come out and do like a lot of stuff that's really serious because, you know, he had himself in great physical condition at, you know, before coming over to the Browns, and you know, this whole training camp period when he wasn't reported. I mean, he came in some like great shape, but you know, how serious is this guy? Like, he's a very, very good player, but I mean, when you look at the Jaguars and getting him, like, when it comes to trade assets, if you guys watch my videos, you guys all know that it's probably redundant now that those picks in the top 4 rounds, I think, are premium spots. I think those are the positions that you always have to hit on to be able to have a good team long term. But, you know, if we trade like a 5th round pick beyond, like, you know, I'm fine with that. You know, I might even be okay with a 4th round pick, but, you know, you're relying on a guy might not be all there mentally. He's been suspended and whatnot for like a number of different reasons, but this guy is an absolute animal. I mean, even back in the day, this guy used to get 100-yard games drunk. This guy actually said that he used to drink hard liquor like in the locker room before the games and like at halftime and everything. This guy would play drunk. This guy would play high. He's absolutely incredible, and his ability to be able to play sober is something. But, you know, if we were to lose a guy, you know, if we were to bring Josh Gordon over and after 4 weeks he's out of here, we are losing a team that, you know, a player that he wasn't with us at the start of the year. You know, this is a guy that we acquired on. So we think we're a Super Bowl team, and we bring on a player that we didn't even expect to have in there, but it's automatically a like great player. And, you know, you lose a guy that, you know, we're a predominantly run team. We run the ball like all the time. You know what I mean? So the pass game is not our identity. We're not bringing him in. We're not going to be signing him for big Odell Beckham Jr. kind of money. We'd probably bring him on like a 1-year deal. I can't imagine teams are going to be really like bidding for this guy, but, you know, we bring him in. He could potentially do great. He's quarterback proof. You know, he put up numbers with guys like, you know, Brandon Weeden and like Jason Campbell and stuff like that. Not very good, not very recognizable. I shouldn't say recognizable, just not very good players. So, Jaguars, man, I think we could really, this would be an opportunity to really go after a guy. And, you know, if he does well, you know, if we get a good deal out of him, we get a number 1 wide receiver, we get a great player. Maybe our team can be a team that humbles him down a little bit. And, you know, if we lose him, you know, we lose a guy that wasn't on our team to start the year. I mean, that's kind of what it comes down to. And I, you know, think the Jaguars should absolutely look into this guy and potentially take him in. So, yeah, those are my thoughts on the Josh Gordon situation. Jaguars, Patriots tomorrow. Be sure to subscribe and hit the notification button so you can watch that game live with me. And I'll see you guys tomorrow.